Okay, everyone. Thank you again for waiting and for your patience as we figured out our tech issues tonight. But welcome into Bulldog Parent University. I'll just first start by introducing myself. My name is Shalisa Bynum. I'm the Director of International Student Engagement and Support in the Office of Student Leadership and Engagement at Alabama A&M. And so I've been doing these BPU calls for about a year and a half or so. So these are just some online sessions for parents for you to interact with just different staff members, different departments on campus to learn how the different services we have work for your students, for you to feel more empowered as you help your student navigate college life. So tonight we have a really great guest from Residential Life, Mr. Eric Richardson. He's going to just quickly go over some move out things you need to know if you have a student moving out of a campus living facility. And then we'll have some time for Q&A. So when it's time, you can just start putting your questions in the chat. Like I said earlier, please keep your mics muted and I'll ask Mr. Richardson your questions on your behalf. So with that, I just want to tell you a little bit about our office. So again, we're in the Office of Student Leadership and Engagement. Our office sees a lot of different students. We help the first gen students, obviously with me, the international students. We have a freshman peer mentor program. We handle all the Greek life organizations, the registered student organizations, um, Royal Court. So your student probably has come through our office for something at some point. So we're glad to just able to have a platform to keep the parents involved. So, with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and let Mr. Richardson take the floor. Mr. Richardson, you can just introduce yourself, you can introduce Res Life, and then get into all the things you want to tell us parents about move out.
Okay, well, hello everybody. I am Eric Richardson. I serve as the university's housing and technology coordinator. So I manage mainly all of the applications for housing that come through. I manage all of the room assignments on and off campus. So if you have any questions about room assignments and locations and buildings that we are utilizing for the fiscal year as well as the summer term, I am open for those questions. As you all know, that the residence halls are planning to close in just a few weeks. I'm not saying that I'm proud and happy about it, but it is about that time so that we can close down, decommission, and get ready for the summer term. So all students have to be out by May the 8th, unless they're participating in graduation. When I say participating in graduation, those students have to actually be in the graduation as graduates and or serving on some type of board for graduation or in an auxiliary organization in which that performs at graduation, such as color guards, the band, and or the choir. For the graduating seniors, we do allow them additional time, which we have them to file out by May 9th at noon. So for regular students, our checkout time must be by 5 o'clock p.m. on Friday, May 8th. And for graduating students and participants in commencement, that would be 12 o'clock noon on Saturday. As of now, we are extending a little time for the off-campus students who are in the Constellation, the Dean, Huntsville Place, and Waterleaf. If the students already have a zero balance at the end of this term and are registered for summer school and for fall classes, they may be permitted to stay. We will ask that they send information to our Office of Residential Life and Housing, which they can reach us by email at housing@aamu.edu. Their email address is housing@aamu.edu and confirm with their community assistants and with the housing department that it will be okay for them to stay over the summer. If they have a zero balance for the fall term and are registered for one class for the summer term. For the spring move out and check out, we actually ask that you remove all items, all bedding, all clothes, etc. You make sure that you clean thoroughly, you sweep, you mop, clean the kitchen, remove all trash from all areas. Also, with your roommates, you coordinate a cleaning schedule so that in those shared spaces, no one would be fined if the whole place is clean. And when I say coordinate with your roommates. You get something in writing, you get an agreement that says that, hey, I have a text message where my roommate said that they're going to clean the common area, they're going to clean the kitchen because they were the last persons to be there if you foul out early. Make sure that you return all keys to the hall staff. That means your RA, your CA, or the hall director. If you can't find your RA and your RA is not available at that time, you need to reach out to the CA of that property. If you can't find the CA, you need to go reach out to the hall director. At no time it is permitted for you to leave keys in a room and say that, hey, I left my key in the room because I couldn't find anybody. You should always find somebody and give them your key that is somebody who is an authority at that residential hall. We also remind you that improper checkout is a $150 fine. So if your roommate does agree to not clean up that space and you don't have anything in writing saying that that person is going to be responsible, then you and that roommate will receive a $150 fine. Another fine that we commonly get is when rooms are inspected after the checkout, rooms that have the scent of marijuana or any type of smoke. Also, to have any type of contraband left, any type of cigar goods, any type of cigar cases, anything that's paraphernalia will be deemed as a $500 fine. And so students are commonly with the misconception saying that, hey, that was just papers in the garbage can, that was just trash. Okay, if that's trash, it's just like when you go to a hotel room. If they have the evidence, smell smoke, and they see a wrapper or anything in the garbage can, and may not be any type of marijuana there, but there was a scent and there was paper. So therefore you will be charged. I believe that's all I have about checkout. So if you have any more questions, be sure to ask me now if you would like.
Yep. So if y'all have questions, we're going to spend the rest of the time just as a Q&A. So you can start putting your questions in the chat. Also, while y'all are doing that, just a reminder that this is the last call of the semester. We don't do BPU during the summer. So, and we've not yet set the schedule for next semester. So, but you, again, just be watching your emails in the parent portal for when we'll start back in August. Usually it's the third Monday of the month. So we do have a question for you, Mr. Richardson. It says, will you discuss when fall housing will open?
Okay, so file housing has opened for incoming freshmen. Incoming freshmen are able to go into the application now and do their full housing assignment for the fall. They can go in and do personal information, accepting or declining grad guard renters insurance, selecting their roommates and matching their roommates, also selecting rooms for each of their roommates. For the file application for returning students, the only portion of the application that has opened is the personal information, declining or accepting grad guard renters insurance, and the roommate matching. We usually and commonly don't open the application until the end of the actual spring term. So it'll be after final grades post. We will be sending information out about that pretty shortly. It may be within the next week and a week or week or two, but we will have that information letting students know that you are able to go into the application. By them already going into the application now as returning students and starting their application, it does give them, it does give us a record of who to send the information to that the returning students room selection portion is open. So at this time, we have not opened the room selection portion, but the first step of the application is open.
Okay, thank you. So we do have about 4 or 5 other questions for you coming through. I lost my place. So what is the earliest that a student can check out if their exams are online?
If their exams are online, they can check out at any time. They just need to notify their hall director that they are checking out early. I would say parents, check with your students also, check with the teachers, have your students to show you verification and proof that those exams are online because we won't want anybody to foul out and saying that we have exams online and we don't know for sure that those exams are online.
All right, good answer. So if you don't have enough credits to be a sophomore, will you get freshman housing? A parent is asking.
At that time, when the application reopens, it will classify them as a continuing student in our system. So yes, Yes and no. It will trigger by their credit hours. So if it is by their credit hours, it probably will show them on-campus options as well as off-campus options for upperclassmen.
Okay. And so the next question is, when will students get their room assignments for fall housing for sophomores
That will be after when the application portal opens after grades post.
after grades post? Okay. And so
Yeah, so
will our
after grades post, I would highly encourage them as of now to go ahead and start the application. If they go ahead and start the application and complete step one of the application, then they'll already be in the pool to receive their email saying that the housing application will open on whichever day we decide to open for the fall term.
okay. Y'all get your applications in. So will RAs check rooms upon checkout, or who does the checkout of the rooms?
Yes, the RA. We highly recommend that you schedule your checkout with your RAs and CAs. Be present at checkout. Don't send pictures. Don't rely on anyone else to check you out. You get in touch with that RA. If that RA is not available at that time, you get in touch with that hall director and say, I could not get in touch with my RA. I need you to come and check my room so that I may be checked out correctly.
Okay. So we do have a question about foster. It says, will the kids that were flooded in foster be given any special instructions
There aren't any special instructions at this moment. We have received the go, and most students for the east side have been moved back in. So if they were assigned to the east side, those students have been given the go to move back in. Those students have been moving back in starting yesterday. Yes, actually, it was Friday. Friday at 4:40 or so, the students were given the go to start back checking in. So the most of them have started filing out from their temporary housing assignments. Now, for the West Side residents, that has not been released back to us yet by the fire marshals to say that those students will be able to go back to those rooms. So for their temporary spaces, they should stay in those temporary spaces.
Perfect. And what are the housing options for the returning students? Is that is that just through the application process?
Yes, those whatever we have available will be in the housing portal at that time. We haven't determined all of the properties that will be available, but for sure they will be the ones that are available in the housing portal when the application opens for step two.
Okay. And I think the next question is basically the same answer about housing options for returning sophomores. Um, you let's see. So when will the residents of Foster Hall be permitted to go back and retrieve their items that were left there since they moved?
Those students have been permitted at all times to go back to their residence hall to pick up items. They actually have been sent emails hours on the hour to let them know what times they are available to enter and exit the building to retrieve items. So they have been allowed to go back and forth to through that building at multiple times during the day to actually go and pick up their items. I was there today, and they have a sign-in sheet that allows you to sign in and say that you're going to retrieve items at this time, and the hall director does allow them to go, and they are usually escorted by one of the staff members to go to those rooms.
Okay, sounds good. And then someone is asking if Normal Hills will be for athletes only.
It won't just be for athletes. It'll be for a lot of our students. We are transitioning, having a lot of our athletes will be staying there. A lot of them on full scholarship will be in those buildings, and it's only because a lot of them have a lot of classes that are right there online. They're trying to be right next to the training courses. A lot of them, their gyms are right there, and so it just won't be for athletes, but it will be a great majority of athletes there.
Okay,
So there will be some rooms in Norman Hill still available for our students.
okay, great. And then, so will all the sophomores be off campus for this coming up year then?
I will not guarantee and say it's just due to space that we have available.
Mhm.
It's a possibility that some students will be able to go into Houdini. Some students will be able to go to Norman Hills. But a lot of our students, with our freshman class being as big as it is, a lot of those students will probably have the options of off-campus
Okay,
apartments.
yep. Makes sense. And so this parent is saying that their freshman was paired with another freshman who is an
Mhm.
athlete in the fall, and they said
Mhm.
she may be moved. Is that correct?
It's a possibility. Usually, the athletes send us a roster and we kind of pair the athletes together. Usually, the athletes and the coaches usually send us a roster of room preferences with their actual teammates. And so, if they do want to stay with their teammate, they can decline I'm sorry, if they don't want to stay with their teammate and want to stay with a specified roommate, they can always decline that offer with their team and say and send us a notice saying that I want to be with my specified roommate versus my teammate.
Okay.
So they do have that option.
This next question is about insurance. So if we did not
Mhm.
get the insurance for our freshmen, can we go back and add it?
Now, one thing I do want to say, I am not an insurance professional. I do know that there are some stipulations. I believe that you can add coverage at any time. Now, as far as the claim, I don't know what that would look like in terms of getting the claim started recently and then right after submitting the claim. So I really can't really answer that question. I do say that we always tell the students that we highly recommend that you get renters insurance. We do have one that we commonly use, and that's Grad Guard Renters Insurance, and that's the one that lives within the housing application. Now, we do tell parents you can always bring your homeowner's insurance, your car insurance sometimes covers your students' belongings also, but that would be something that you would have to actually bring to us yourself to cover your students. But as for receiving the insurance after something has happened and making a claim, that would be solely on you and the insurance company. I don't want to get you in any trouble, and I don't really know the premises around that, so I don't want to answer that question wrong.
Okay, that's fine. So someone again is asking about normal hills being for athletes, and you already said it is not only for athletes, but majority athletes. So a parent is asking about a student that's been having issues with the roommate's cleanliness all semester and has been reporting it to the RA. So what happens? What are the repercussions of this roommate that's not upholding their end of the bargain?
Okay, so it's more than just the roommate. I mean, it's more than just the RA. The chain of command and the hall staff is going to the RA. After going to the RA, you go to the support staff, then to support staff to the hall director. That hall director should be able to rectify that issue within that room. Usually the RAs usually set up some type of meeting with the students to see if we can come to a common ground, sign a roommate agreement to see what we can do to prevent what's going on from happening. But if you don't see any resolve after going to the RA, then you go to the hall director, and the hall director should be able to rectify that. Usually, if the hall director is not able to rectify the issue, then they send it over to our central housing office, which are our area coordinators, who actually manage that portion of managing the student staff and the hall director. So our area coordinators on campus and our area coordinator for off campus usually handle anything outside of the RA and the CA not being able to come to a medium with those residents in those dwellings.
Okay, makes sense. So this parent's asking, since there's only a few weeks left, do they just have to move back into foster, considering the situation?
Considering the situation, if they are on the east side, they have to move back to their dwelling. Although it's a few weeks left, we still have students that are in hotels and things, and so we are trying our best to make sure that all of our students are back on campus. And
Mhm.
so, with that being said, if you are an East Side resident and you are in a temporary space, we are allowing you in, and it is mandatory that you go back to that space.
But do they have the option to just move out early though if they don't want to go back?
Yes, if they don't want to go back and their exams online, they do have the option to go ahead and go home.
Okay, gotcha. And so this parent is asking if the roommate already moved out but left some of their belongings, how should this be handled during the move out if the roommate left stuff?
That student needs to start the communication now and letting the RA know that I have not saw my roommate. My roommate did not clean out all of these belongings. They still have things in this room and it needs to be documented. I would say send them their email in band. I mean, send them their message in band. Send that email to that hall director. Let them know. Take pictures. Also, you want everything in black and white. You can't just go by somebody's word. You need to make sure that you have some type of documentation saying that, no, I reported this on XYZ so that when it comes to the time that the fine is rendered, no, I send my documentation. I let you know what was going on. So, no, this fine is not mine.
Sounds good. Good advice. Uh, will there be two checkout processes for the West Side foster students, one for foster and one for their temporary dorm room? Will those students have to check out twice?
Yes, I would say they would need to go and I'm not really privy to that notice just yet because we have not decided exactly what we're gonna do. I really don't know if we would probably get the West Side of Foster back just yet. So I really can't answer that. I would strongly recommend that they reach out to their hall director and see what they need to do. Honestly, me just being transparent, if I am a West Side resident and I have a temporary space, I will go ahead and move my belongings to that temporary space.
Okay.
Now, I know
Um,
the ones who are in probably in hotels right now, they're probably not wanting to move all of their belongings to that temporary space. So I would just wait to be reassigned to an on campus temporary space, and then I would move all of my belongings there. And I
okay.
would just go ahead and check out with Foster and just let them know that I'm going to stay in my temporary space for the remainder of the semester.
Makes sense. Okay. So this next question is, when will the second phase open for the returning students?
Like I said before, it'll be after final grades post. We have not determined a day, but if you've already done the first portion of the application, and if you go ahead and do the first portion of the application, you will receive that email and that communication on when the second portion opens.
Okay. And then another question about foster, can the students that are in temporary housing just leave their belongings in foster until the end of the semester when they check out?
Yes, but I would strongly recommend that you do follow the checkout process for foster. Um, yes, I would follow the checkout procedures for foster also. So
Okay.
in that temporary space, I would check out in that temporary space and I will make sure that I properly check out in foster as well.
Okay. So this parent is asking, how is the housing priority determined for the sophomores?
How's the housing priority determined?
Yeah, if someone gets priority housing, how is that determined for sophomore students?
We really don't consider it priority housing, seeing that we are having the application open at one time for all students. So it's on a first come, first served basis. We
Okay.
won't really consider it any priority housing.
Okay, makes sense. And so will water leave be an option for athletes?
There's a possibility that water leaf will be a option for athletes.
Okay. It's just a possibility at
I
this point.
can't guarantee because we are still in deliberation on which places we're going to utilize just yet, but
Okay.
it could possibly, very well possibly be an
Okay.
option.
So we don't know quite for sure yet, but stay tuned.
Yeah. Yes, they.
This parent is asking, is Huntsville Place considered with the school's financial aid, and does financial aid take care of off-campus housing too?
Yes, all of our off-campus properties, the Waterleaf, the Dean, Constellation, all of these properties are university managed apartments. So the financial aid does take care of all of these options. Nothing is separate from these properties. You don't pay any additional light bill, you don't pay any additional cable bill, you don't pay an additional Wi-Fi bill, you don't pay any additional anything. Everything is through their financial aid. It's one cost and it comes through their financial aid. So when students say, "Hey, we're pushing them off campus to these off campus apartments," no, it's nothing that you have to pay for additionally. If they were on campus and they were paying the rate for a Houdini, they were paying a rate for the night complex. It would be the same way with the off campus apartment complexes. It's nothing extra.
Okay, perfect. This parent's asking about transportation. So is there transportation if students get off-site housing?
Yes, we have transportation every hour on the hour that comes to the university. It has a pickup schedule. If you download the Alabama A&M app, it actually has a portion in the app with the transportation routes. So it shows the route to the dean. It shows the route to the constellation. It shows the times. Right now, even with the students who are in the hotels temporarily from Foster, We actually have a route with the hotel routes where you can just click on the little Quiet app and it'll tell you exactly what time that the bus is coming. We actually have it now, so innovative where it shows actually where the bus is and the tracker for the bus and
Wow.
shuttle.
And we have all electric buses, is that right? Do you know?
Yeah, most of them we have the most of the on campus are the electric. For the off campus, they have the shuttle vans.
Oh, okay. So there's vans and buses.
Yes.
Um, okay. And then, since the west side of Foster is currently a construction site with appliances pulled and exposed pipes, will students be responsible for checking of those rooms, checking out of those rooms?
Yes, it would mainly just be them going to retrieve their items. What I would say is I would strongly recommend checking with the hall director because they are the ones on site and they are the ones who really know more about the safety and the restriction of the use of the building. So they will be able to tell us that no, we're restricted to go to this area, we're restricted to do this and that. So I can't really answer that question completely, but I would say it's mainly for the retrieval of their items.
Okay. Next question you already answered. Does financial aid take care of the off-campus housing too? You said yes, it does. If your child has a hold, will he or she be able to complete step one of the application process for housing? Which you kind of
If
already
they have a
answered.
hold, they can complete step one. They can
Right.
complete step one of the application, which is the personal information, declining or accepting grade guard renters insurance, and picking the roommates. Now, when it comes to step two of the application, they will not be prohibited to do step two with the hold on their account because it's not going to allow them to pay the application fee with the hold on your account.
Right.
And so when you do go ahead and make a room assignment, and I'm just getting it so the parents can kind of think a little literal about the situation because a lot of students say, well, I have a hold, but I still want to pick a room. If you go ahead and pick a room, there's no telling how long you'll have that hold on your account. So you're holding a room for someone. So that's why we place that blocker for you not to be able to go through with step two.
Hmm. Right. Okay. Um, so this next question is saying, so if the suite mates areas, if they all smell of smoke or marijuana or whatever, will the whole room be fine for that, even if it's just one person's fault?
It just depends on that situation. If it is the whole suite and we can't pinpoint who did it, if no one takes ownership for that, or no one tells, because a lot, yeah, I do know that a lot with this generation, they do not believe in this snitching and they do not believe in telling. But honestly, me as a person, if it wasn't me and I don't want that fine, I'm going to tell who did it. Even if I don't know who did it, I'm going to say it wasn't us on this side, but it was them over there on that side.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would say, yeah, just make sure that the student tells whose it was. And
Hmm.
if not, then I know for sure that I have saw where the whole suite was charged for.
Okay. So everybody just needs to put on your big girl panties and just fess up.
Yes.
Okay. So this next, I'm not sure what you mean, but it says, can you tell us the housing for sophomores and juniors? I'm not sure if that means which ones are available for sophomores and juniors, which buildings. We'll see if
Like
they.
I said right now, yeah, like I said before, for the upperclassmen, we have not actually decided which places will be available yet. I know that once the portal opens, it will show everything that we have available.
Okay.
So, like I said, it could be very well Houdini Complex. It could be very well Norman Hills. It could be very well any one of the off-campus sites.
Right. Okay. So we have another question about Foster. So the Foster West Side students received notification today around 5 o'clock about moving back on campus tomorrow. Can the West Side students that are at off-campus apartments that are not at hotels just stay where they are for the rest of the semester, especially the ones that moved everything in off-campus apartments recently? You need me to say
Yes,
that again?
if the and are you saying are those the West Side residents?
Foster West Side students receive notification. Can the West Side students, yes, that are off campus, just stay where they are for the rest of the semester?
Yes, those West Side students who are in temporary places, they can remain in those places off campus. It's the ones that are in the hotels that we're kind of making sure that we move back to campus or to one of our actual campus apartments.
Right. Okay. And so his next question is asking about honor students. So the honor students don't get first dibs on housing selections. There's no, because you
Like
said
I
there's no
said, we're trying
priority.
to kind of shy away from what they're saying with priority housing. With the honors program, they do submit a list of honor students. And so with those students, we do put them in a pool of rooms where they can select from.
Okay. Can sophomores stay in off-campus housing with upper class, junior, or seniors?
Yes.
hmm okay. Will students know their housing options before the second half of the application process opens? And if so, where would they find that information?
We won't probably have that information available until the time for it to open.
Okay. And if a student was placed in another dorm due to bullying, do they check out of the new dorm and the old dorm on the 8th, even if the key was turned in for the old dorm, excuse me?
For the old dorm, that should not be an issue anymore because if they were moved out of their dwelling,
Mhm.
then that means that they were completely vacated from that place. If they were moved out due to bullying, they should have took everything that they had in that previous room and moved it to the new room and checked out at that time from that place. So they should not have any more dealings with the previous property or the residence hall.
That makes sense. Do the students have to have a group roommate apartment or can they get a single room apartment? Can they live alone?
Most of our rooms are customarily um, double occupancy. We don't really guarantee our single. We don't really guarantee single availability. Most single availability are students who have already went through the portion for accessibility and accommodations.
Right. Okay. So this is about cars on campus. Can students have cars on campus? My student is a freshman coming in from out of state.
Yes, students are allowed to have cars on campus.
They
Now
just have
it
to
is
go through the
restricted. Yeah, they have to be registered through the Department of Public Safety, DPS, and get the decal for their car. Now, I know on certain portions of the campus, they can't park during the day because it is prohibited until after 5 to park in certain places on campus. And
Mhm.
I do know commonly they do boot cars. I was just at night complex today and they had all those cars going around the bend and they were not in respected parking spaces and they were out there booting cars.
Okay. So make sure you park in the correct spot if you're driving on campus. Um, so this is about furniture. Is school sponsored off-campus housing fully furnished? If not, what would students need?
Okay, our apartments are fully furnished. There's a living room, dining room. In each bedroom, there's a bedroom and usually a desk for the students. Well, study area for the students. But every one of our apartments off campus are completely furnished. There is a link on our housing page of things to bring and things not to bring, whether it's in the residence halls and or the apartments.
Okay, perfect. So this is not quite res life related. It's how do dining packages work for off-campus students? We have Mr. Pearsall come usually in August to talk about the dining services, and we have a cafeteria, we have two dining halls, and you can look back at the video on our YouTube channel. At the end of the call, I'll post the link to the YouTube. He's talked before. You just look in the one dated for August, and he has given a whole video about our dining services. But do you know anything else, Mr. Richardson?
Yeah, so also in the housing application, when you select your room assignment, you also acknowledge your meal plan. And so it does give you the option then to pick the meal plans. I have met with yes, AVP Pearsall. And so we have put those meal plans in our housing application. So when you select, let's say the off-campus apartments, with the off-campus apartments, now we give you the option. If you want to go to the cafeteria every day, we offer you the full meal plan. So you
Mhm.
can select the full meal plan. You can also accept the weekly 5 or the weekly 10. which I can't go into detail on what all they encompass. But like you said, on the cashier's office page and on the ID office page, it does have a breakdown of what those meal plans are. So you do acknowledge your meal plan within the housing application. And I would strongly urge you before filling out the housing application and making your room assignment that you go and you look at those meal plan options before accepting one. Although you acknowledge it within the housing application, I do believe that Mr. Pearsall does give a grace period where you are able to go and change your meal plan. Now, I know after a certain time, you are not able to change your meal plan, regardless of the fact of you just not realizing it, that you picked the highest one, but you live in an apartment and you only go to the cafeteria X amount of days. You still have to pay for whichever meal plan that you decided. And if you do not change it within that time, then it will not be changed.
Gotcha. Okay. So this question is, and we just have a few more. What are the name of the off-campus apartments that provide transportation?
Some campus apartments provide transfer that we provide transportation to and from the campus from all of our off-campus partners. Our off-campus partners are the Dean at Chase Creek, the Waterleaf, the Constellation, as of now Dallas Mills, and the Elroy, also Huntsville Place.
Okay. So is the school's renter's insurance covered by financial aid?
No, it is not covered by financial aid. You would have to either bring your own policy and your own coverage, or you can select from the Greg R. Renters Insurance. And so Greg R. Renters Insurance is just one that we promote because we have a partnership with Greg R. Renters Insurance. And so in the housing application, when you first start the housing office, that's one of the first things that you see after doing your personal information. It brings you to a page that says, hey, Greg R. Renters Insurance offers this policy. You can accept the policy right now. It'll go over the policies with you. You can decline the coverage, and it'll also send you a message that says that I'm interested in the policies. Could you send me information? I'm going to decline it now. Just send me information about what the policies are. So it's multiple options when you actually start the housing application and see the renters insurance options.
Great. And so this parent is asking, how much is the housing fee? Do you know that?
The housing application fee is a non-refundable 150. You pay that each fiscal year. So let's just say you are a student who's enrolling for the fall and you defer your enrollment to the spring. If you go ahead and do your application, you pay your 150 for the fall, that goes over into the spring. That same 150 covers your summer term. If you come in during the summer now, you would pay a summer fee of 150. And if you were to go to school for the fall, you'll end up paying another 150 because that's a full fiscal year in the summertime. So we have a lot of students who come in during the summer, and when they do the summer application, it is a summer term 150, and then that only covers the summer because you have to remember financial aid only comes from the previous term before. So that would be from fall 25 to spring 26. And so you'll be in summer 26. And
Gotcha.
so then if we go into fall 27, you won't be able to use that 150 for that term. So it'll be another 150 for the 27 into 28 term.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So I think you already addressed this. When will the housing list be available?
Yes.
Yep. So we're not quite sure right now. So
Yes.
this is about co-ed living. Can males and females live together in off-campus housing? I
No, they
think,
cannot live together.
right.
All of our dwellings, when selecting a room, it will block you from selecting a female and or a male if you all are not the same sex within the same residence hall. Now, for the communities, if you are in such as the off-campus apartments, yeah, very well, you may have two females next door to you, two males with you, and two females next to you. But yeah, we will never allow two students of the opposite sex to live in the same dwelling.
Got you. Uh, so let's see. I'm not sure about this question. What it's asking, if a sophomore and junior are going to room together, who needs to register them, the junior or the sophomore? But they would just be filling out the application separately, right?
Yes, they fill out the application separately, and when they fill out the application, and they are in the roommate group together, whoever goes into the application and select the room can actually select the room for both persons. They just need to make sure that when they are in the roommate group, make sure that the roommate group has been secured, that they see that person as their roommate. When you go into the portal, and whoever goes into the portal first can very well see all the rooms that are available. They need to make sure that they select a room that says that it has availability for two persons, three persons, however many people they have in their roommate group. They need to make sure that they have availability. So when that person goes into there and they see that, hey, I see a room at Waterloo, there's 4 beds in Waterloo, I have 4 beds available. They need to make sure that they go and assign each bed to each person in the
Got
roommate group. If
mm,
you don't assign each person to each bed, whoever you left out of the bed, out of the bed count, they go back into general population because you have to remember that at the same time that you're in the portal, somebody else is in the portal selecting too. So if you're not selecting the available beds that are in the room for everybody, somebody's going to be outside of that roommate group then. And
mhm.
very well, you go back to the application, it will show that you're in a roommate group, but it will not allow you to select anybody anymore after you solidify your room and your bed.
Okay, makes sense. And so in the interest of time, some of these are duplicate questions, everybody. So I'm going to skip over some and get to ones we have not answered. So there's one about bullying roommates if they're allowed to move. We already went over that they can move, they can change to a different room if that's an issue. Um, this is about the presidential scholarship. Does the presidential scholarship cover off-campus housing costs? Is there a cap or certain off-campus apartments that the scholarship covers for presidential
Now, I
scholarship?
cannot really answer that question. That's going to be a question for financial aid. I thought, and to my knowledge, I thought that a presidential scholarship covers all room and board and tuition costs. So that would be something that I highly recommend that you reach out to financial aid and make sure that they don't have a cap on those scholarships.
Mhm. So this is again about meal plans. We went over that. Are freshmen allowed other meal plans? They're
It just
allowed.
depends on where they stay. With the freshmen, if you're in any on-campus property, you're going to automatically have the full meal plan because those places don't have a full kitchen.
Okay. Uh, this question is about when do they pay the 150 for the fall?
After selecting their room,
Is in the application process.
yes, in the application process, you have to select the room before you can pay the 150.
Um, okay. Hopefully my student selected the renter's insurance option for the first phase. Is there a grace period or can it be changed if my student did not select for renter's insurance?
Yes, your student can actually go back into the housing portal now and go back over their application. And if they don't see that they have selected Greg R. Renters Insurance, they can go ahead and very well get that Greg R. Renters Insurance now.
Okay. So another question about honor students. If the student is on the honor roll, can the student apply for the normal light scholarship as a sophomore? That might be another question for financial aid, I would think.
Mhm.
You agree? Can we put the list of off-campus? Oh, Mr. Richardson, are you able to type the list of all the off-campus options in the chat for people to see?
Mhm.
I'll give you a minute to do that. While he's doing that, everybody, I'll just pull up our YouTube channel as well. So those of you that had questions about dining services and other things like that, I'm going to go ahead and put the link to the account where you can go ahead and go back to previous videos. So if you just give me a second and then we'll answer the last few questions for you guys. So just hold on one moment. Um, view my channel. And then let me copy and paste this. Give me 1 second. Share channel, copy. Okay, put that in the chat as well for you guys. And then let's see what else you guys want to know about. So I can get my place back. Uh, So I think these last questions we have already answered. When can we select our room for the housing application? That's in the application room selection is you already answered. We've already answered some of these that are coming through. Has the move-in date for fall 2026 been announced yet? Also, how can a student meet their roommate before move-in day?
So the housing, so the housing, I'm sorry, the dates have been determined. I believe that's the 14th, 15th, and 16th for move in. Let me verify that I am looking now. Um,
And then if they, is it possible for, how do they meet each other if they don't know each other? Um,
Usually, in the application portion and doing the application summary, it does have their A number and it does allow them to send emails to that student.
okay.
Usually, within the roommate process, um, in the roommate selection, the students usually have like their social media handles within their introductions. So a lot of them have like their IG or their social media in there.
Okay, great. And then we'll let this be the last question because I'm seeing a lot of duplicates. So you guys, I post these recordings on our YouTube channel, which I've linked down in the chat too. So you can go back and watch the recording for these questions that are duplicates. And so we'll let this be the last one. If our student has requested to change roommates to a specific roommate via email, how long will that process take to change a roommate?
We are working on those. We don't customarily change the roommates.
Hmm.
So we really don't give you the option. After you've already selected the roommate, we kind of lock that in because the selection period is still going and it's still live. So students are still selecting rooms. And so we don't usually like to customarily change it if we don't have the space available to change it to.
Hmm.
With that being said, if you think about students are actively selecting rooms now. So let's just say East 315 and East 314. Your students are in East 314. I can't uproot the students and just go randomly change the students in 315 to accommodate your student because they didn't select their room at the same time or they want to be in rooms with specified people. Because once we change the room assignment, the students can see that. It sends them a direct email saying that your room was switched to 315, 316. Let's just say we didn't know that those students who are in the 316 knew each other or they found each other in the portal and now they want to be roommates. We can't really just change it like that. So no,
Right.
we customarily don't change it. We have been advising students to go ahead and just send their requests to our housing email, and if we are able to change it or have the rooms to switch without changing anybody else's room assignment, then we do so, and then we notify the student that your room assignment has been updated.
Okay, gotcha. And so we'll let that be the last question. Again, those of you that had some of the duplicate questions, please just watch the YouTube channel. I should have this posted in a day or two. And so just a reminder as well, we don't do BPU in the summer, so this is the last one for the semester. We'll start back in August during the fall. Usually it's the third Monday of the week. But again, if you'll just watch your emails and be watching the parent portal, we post there. So I want to thank you all for your time tonight. I want to be respectful of our guest time and that we've reached that hour point. So I hope we were able to get some of your questions answered. Again, and just watch our YouTube channel for about maybe Wednesday afternoon when I'll have this downloaded and uploaded on over there. So thank you all.
Okay,
Hope you have
I
a great
did
summer.
see one question. They said that I
Uh-huh.
did not specify the move-in dates. So for the new student check-in, that's going to be the 14th, 15th, and the 16th. Now, I would say just be visually on our housing webpage. Also, which I posted the link for our housing webpage, it will have the move-in dates and times. I do know that a lot of our upperclassmen will be in some of our off-campus apartment schedules. So we haven't posted those yet. And so with the off-campus apartment complexes, a lot of those we have to fall in line with the dates that they're open. A lot of them are not open on the weekend. So it will be a Monday through Friday check-in. Now I know we are trying to work with some of the properties because I know two or three of them are student-led apartments. So we have some of our A&M staff who are actually at those properties. And so they can allow students into the room and we can do a check-in. So just like I said, be vigilant on our housing webpage as we do update those dates and times in which you are able to. Also, if you have any other yes, that is in the month of August. So that will be August 14th, 15th, and 16th for new student check-in. We are working on a couple of updates on our housing page. Like I said, I did post a link in here. If you do want to send us an email at housing@aamu.edu if you have any further questions. If you have any questions about room assignments, you can also CC me in those emails, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. For the social media handles, we do have a IG page and we post a lot on our IG page. So for updates, I would say have your students to follow that page. A lot of them already follow that page. If they have any comments, they can always hit us in the chat and we always reach out and respond back also.
Perfect. Well, thank you all so much. Again, reach out to the housing email if you have more questions come up tonight that you didn't think about, or just watch the recording on YouTube. So I appreciate you all. Thank you all for coming. And I hope y'all have a good night, a good summer, and we'll see y'all in August.